All right, welcome back. Another episode. Still haven't given up yet. This is good.
No, I haven't given up. Are we halfway yet?
Is this episode 5? Episode 5.
Wow,
Not
almost.
Quite. What did we say? We're going to be doing 12 episodes.
Okay.
Almost halfway.
Almost at the halfway mark.
I think this is going to be the most challenging one yet, though.
Oh, why? Don't make me nervous already.
I'm pinging off so much caffeine at the moment.
I am too, though. So,
All right, good. We're
it's
both
game
just
on.
going to be like edgy and on. Yeah, wow. Okay. Well, hopefully that motivated you if you're listening. First thing I wanted to report was the noodles I made. Because I think I really want to do a cooking segment. But the thing is, I really don't know how to cook. And we've talked about this already on the podcast. And on the weekend, a couple of days ago, I made, how do you pronounce it?
Chow mein noodles.
Chow mein, okay.
Chow mein. I don't know.
And I've actually got a mad hack though.
Tell us.
So because I can't cook, what I did was, and okay, there's one more thing. I get overwhelmed at the supermarket.
Yeah.
If I'm making something new and I've never seen this like product before and don't know where to go for it, I don't want to go. That seems like a very laborious task for me to undertake.
Other categories on the signs not good enough for you?
No.
No.
Because then you get to the area and you're looking everywhere for it. Anyway, here's my hack. Listen up. Woolies.com. Oh, I don't know. Type in Woolies recipes
Yeah.
onto Google. Takes you to a page. Or maybe it just takes you to the Woolies website. No. It will take you to a page full of different recipes. I knew I wanted a noodle dish. So you type in noodles and then you, in the normal search thing. But I think it also shows you noodles you can purchase. But you set the filter to recipes. You choose from like the 50 recipes they have with keyword noodle. Once you've chosen it, add to cart all the ingredients. Yeah.
No.
Yep. Direct to boot, pick up Port Melbourne, Plummer Street. Brilliant. It solved like all my issues.
So they pick it up. Oh, they get
They
the
pack it.
items for you and you just pick it up.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
So I don't have to go searching in the aisles that I'm not familiar with, like the Asian area. And it's all direct to my boot. I could literally leave my boot
crazy.
open if I wanted to.
I wonder how many people know this. That's crazy. I've not heard of that.
Yeah. The only thing is you're just then limited to Woolies recipes, but they all seem pretty good.
Yeah. Okay,
try
that's a
others.
great hack.
Yeah.
Oh,
There was one drawback though. It probably needed some meat in it. It didn't have any meat.
oh, did you do a vegetarian noodle dish?
Well, I guess so. I sort of... And it's funny, I didn't really pay too much attention to the recipe. I'm like, oh yeah, that looks good. Photo looks good. Saw some rough ingredients. And I just assumed it would have meat.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, come with some pork mince or something. I don't know.
Did it have egg?
No.
Oh, wow.
Is that...
Well, I don't know. I'm just thinking,
It
where's
was noodles,
Yep.
carrots, asparagus, carrots, capsicum,
Oh, yeah.
zucchini.
Yeah.
I think they were the main vegetables. Onions, some garlic, and then the sauce was like oyster sauce and soy
Yeah,
sauce.
great.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Did
okay.
it turn out well? Were you
It's
happy?
great.
Oh.
Yeah. You're more than welcome to try some if you
I'll
want.
try some and
I
I'll
made
let
a
you
big
know.
batch. I feel like an adult.
Yeah, well, you can just like maybe make some meat on the side and then you can have it together if you want some added
What
protein.
meat would you go?
Steak, beef, probably.
Beck said steak, and I'm like, no, you wouldn't add steak to noodles.
Well, I just know you make steak often, but then you
Okay.
can like have that as a main and then like put some noodles on the side. There you go.
Okay. That was considerate.
Yeah, so good.
What else been happening with you?
With me personally, it's been pretty chill so far, but I feel like I'm gearing up for some big weekends coming up. So I'm trying to relax, plan a little bit. But yeah, this weekend there's a lot going on. I've got a lot of cancer community events, and then I've got boiler room.
That is such a contrast of event.
It is a contrast. And that's why I'll have to flip, And then there's also of course, the powerlifting nationals comp that I really, really want to go to. So hopefully I can make it on Sunday afternoon. That's what I'm planning. But everyone listening would probably be, it would be Monday. So everyone would be knackered if you're there, if you've done it. Yeah.
Cut me some slack if you're talking to me today on Monday.
Yeah, well, great job for everyone that competed. Get some well-deserved rest. And, you know, if you're well done, if you're also happy with your result, but if you're not, that's why we've got PBs and pints. No, I feel like everyone that's not happy wants to max out again, right?
Well, that's such a good segue. Well, do you know what? It being 2 weeks after nationals means you can definitely like double peak.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's for everyone that's competed. It's for everyone that hasn't competed yet. And it's for just everyone else that wants to have a good time. So I think it's the best event.
Wow, you sold it so well. I thought I would have to really pull some strings to get it going. But yeah, like all I think last week we maybe teased at it, but we didn't have confirmed details. Is that right?
I thought you had maybe confirmed it early in the week. I actually don't know. I know you confirmed it to the Groove chat, but to the public, I don't know. Confirm the details if you haven't.
Confirmed details, November 9th, 9 till 12 at 3 Point Training. Basically, it's just a nice big training session. Some people are using that to do their max out days or work towards and test. But if that's not you and you want to still come get amongst it, that's basically what we're encouraging. Come do your normal training session there. And come to the pub afterwards from 12 at the Prince Alfred Hotel for some lunch.
Yum. Great.
Yeah. So I'm really, I said this in my story the other day, I'm pretty married to this idea. I think PBs and Pints runs for eternity. And I really want to go on tour with PBs and Pints. I want to go down the East Coast. We've got someone in Sydney. We've got someone in Tasmania.
Okay.
I really want someone on the Gold Coast or like Brisbane.
Yeah.
And then just hit the East Coast down to Tasmania and then finish in Melbourne.
Yeah.
As this, I don't know, just this great day of lifting. Multiple great days.
Well, would you have to get all like the Groove people on board, or is it just kind of you taking it around and then...
It's just an excuse for me to go visit people.
Okay, yep.
But what a great way of bringing people together in different states.
That's great.
Who doesn't like training and then going to lunch?
Yeah. That's like people, you know how when people visit other gyms, what do they call it? Like a...
gym...
Road trip?
I
can't remember what it's called, but I feel like a lot of powerlifters, they like to, go see other powerlifting gyms and, see what the community's like there, and that's always such a good time. So imagine, taking that to the coast and stuff like that. That'd be sick.
Imagine. Yeah. If you're in a different state, I suspect the main people interstate that will listen will be Tasmanian people. Let me know that you're keen for this and might accelerate the process. But I think early next year is a good aim.
Yeah, great.
Like real early. Watch this space. That's PBs and Pints. If you're keen, just let me know. Only to cater for numbers and make sure that the day runs smoothly. We did say, I'm just reading the notes now. We did say we'd read out any comments that were posted on YouTube or Spotify. And I think we have to honour that.
Okay. Did we receive any?
We received a couple. I'm not sure if they knew that they were going to be read out because they're nothing crazy. Kane said something funny. Kane? Oh, yeah. See, Kane said you should talk more about this Kane guy. He sounds handsome. Actually, I can't even confirm this is Kane. I just assume it is.
It has to be.
He sounds handsome and strong. Well, he is. And Life with Lamb podcast commented gang.
Great.
Yep. All right, so
moving on.
If anyone wants to add something interesting, we promise we'll read it out.
Yes.
No matter what the comment is.
Yeah.
Is there any filter on it?
No filter.
No filter. Whatever is written, we'll read it out.
Yes.
But no, if you've been listening so far, thank you, because there's actually like quite a few people listening each week, which is really, really cool and motivating.
Oh, that's exciting.
And yeah, let us know, now that we've had a few episodes, let us know what you like, what you maybe don't like. Give us some feedback. Give us something to go off.
Have you received any feedback personally?
Yeah, it's usually positive feedback.
Yeah.
But people aren't necessarily going to unsolicitedly give constructive feedback. But we're happy to hear it.
Yeah. Any feedback on any of the segments?
No, why? Oh, yeah, sorry. We did get some feedback. The hot takes last week was shit.
Oh my gosh, that was funny. When Deli came in and told me that, I was like, oh, I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah, so thanks, Will McKenzie, for giving me the hard truth there. Because we needed to hear that.
Yeah, we did.
Listening back on it, I did listen back on it.
And I guess I was like, oh, it was good information. So I was like, oh yeah, it's good. But you're right. A hot take needs to be a little bit more full on, huh?
Yeah, we were too convincing.
Yeah.
If everyone agrees with it, it probably isn't a hot take.
Okay, but could you argue that someone's cold tea might be someone else's hot tea?
Well, speaking of.
What have you got today?
All right, this is... this hot take's almost a cold take, but I know people don't agree with me, but I'm just telling you that I'm not lying when I say this. Food cold, like the next day after it's been in the fridge, genuinely improves the taste of a lot of meals. Let me explain. Pasta, I actually don't really like pasta. Like an amazing pasta dish, I might give a 7.1 out of 10. That's a max. But a typical pasta, bolognese, red sauce type of thing, I'm giving that anywhere from a 3 to 5 out of 10. Now, here's where things get interesting. And I'm going to reinstate, I'm not lying remotely when I say this. I genuinely then rate that same 3 to 5 out of 10 pasta as a minimum 7.5 the day after it's been in the fridge and eating it cold. So I'm not reheating it.
At all.
I'm eating it cold, yeah.
It's not room temperature, it's cold.
No, it's cold.
Wow.
Tastes better.
Wow. Can you, why does it taste better?
I don't know. I don't know what it is about the warm food. I don't know.
Okay.
It just tastes like something I want to eat. And I don't know how this links up, but it's got to have something to do with why I love ice cream.
Okay. Well, that's two different things, because the first thing is like something that's meant to be hot eaten cold, and then there was like cold, there's simply cold food. So maybe it's just a sensory thing for you.
Maybe I like the texture a bit better when it's cold, because it's like, if you think, I know, pasta sauce, like it can be a bit runny.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, that's so weird.
There's got to be...
Let me think of something.
You know why I want to bring this up?
Yeah.
I just need someone to agree with me. I need to know that there's someone out there.
Because, I would say that that's a very cold take. I would want to know who else feels that way too. I'm just thinking a little bit about why that is the case. Do you feel like the flavor is better as well? Because if you're saying you put it in the fridge and then the flavors marinate more and then you eat it and then it's better.
So I think that's common, but I wouldn't say that's the main reason.
Okay.
No, it's the fact that it's cold. Well, I guess that changes the flavor if it's cold.
Yeah. Okay.
Or
that's
it changes the experience. You're right, like the textures, maybe the flavor.
You're just not a food connoisseur. Sorry.
No, do I enjoy cold pizza better?
Okay, actually, I have heard about that. My best friend loves that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a bit more normal. But pasta, no. How about when you have, just a parma?
What?
Or like protein, like steak and a parma.
Oh,
that kind of stuff.
Steak no good the next day. Full stop.
Yeah.
Chicken, I can definitely do cold.
Yeah. Okay, I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't reheat food. Like just full stop. I don't.
Maybe it's just because you're on the go all the time, so you don't have the time and you've got used to it. Yeah.
Maybe. What's your hot take of today?
My hot take is traveling is not that fun. And I will say it's because I feel like when you first go, everything's exciting, it's new, it's thrilling, and then it just gets boring.
What type of travel? Like international travel? What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's a good point. I am talking about international travel, I reckon.
Okay.
I've done quite a bit myself and, all different types of traveling, but I think I'm mostly referring to the time where I decided to take a gap year. Everyone hypes a gap year up. You finish uni and you just need a freaking break. So I was like, I'm going to do what everyone else does and I'm going to, go on so many adventures, go travel everywhere. And I did, okay? I did for the first maybe 6 to 7 months. It was on and off. So yes, it's a little bit, I don't know, more tiring that way. Like people were saying maybe it was because you had to switch on and off so much. Yeah. But either way, I know that I enjoyed home more. And I went let me tell you, I went to Europe. I went to New York. I went to Thailand for a Muay Thai boot camp and Bali. Yeah, I'm telling you, I went everywhere. Okay. And I was just, I don't know, I got to a point every trip where I'm like, I want to go home. Right. Actually, I will say, I think the more planned short trips I enjoyed because there was more of an itinerary and there were lots of activities. Yeah. But I find that if I'm somewhere for an extended amount of time, I just feel like there's some lack of purpose and I get bored of things and I don't really know what I'm doing. Yeah. So I would say that you can find sense of adventure and relax at home or wherever you live.
So I don't know if you know this. I've never traveled overseas.
Wow. that's crazy.
And that's changing. We're going to, at the moment at least, Greece and Italy next year. Should I just not go?
Wait, no. I always will take up opportunities. I think it's a great experience. I just don't think it's all that people say that it is. Or they, everyone waits around to go away on holiday, but why? It's not that great.
Wow.
And I know that's a hot take because I know, that's a cold take, I mean.
I swear.
I swear to God, I swear.
Please, Will. Say they're okay.
Most of my friends absolutely love it so much. I think I'm just a home buddy and maybe I've just been that privileged as well to be traveling since I was young. So yeah, but you haven't been. So maybe is that because you don't think it's that great?
No, not really. The right time is just never. I've never been that mode. Obviously I've never traveled, so it's never been in the back of my head as something I do and look forward to because I'm just not used to it, I guess.
So no opportunities came up in the past where
if I really wanted to go, I could have.
Yeah.
I just guess I've never been
urge.
Really.
Yeah. And I think that's maybe because we're similar in that we find maybe work really purposeful and we've got, we just enjoy doing things at home and maybe we enjoy that structure and routine somewhat as well.
Yeah, I'm so scared about leaving work.
There you go.
And the routine and just
because it brings so much I think because we're so passionate already, maybe some other people just find, work is work and they just, outside of that, that's when they have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
I can definitely see that being the case.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's my hot take.
Better than last week.
Whatever.
All right, what are we going to unpack today?
Niggles and injuries. I feel like everyone would more so know what injuries are, but what's a niggle?
Good question. I think it's a good topic because if you're consistently training or doing any sort of physical activity, really, or even if you're not, this can happen in just everyday life, we run into injuries and niggles, undoubtedly. It's bound to happen. If you've never been injured or had a niggle before, it's coming. So I think this will be good to talk about because hopefully we can, give some good advice or give some good understanding of what to do when things pop up and when things show up. To understand a niggle, I think we first have to understand an injury.
Yep.
And I Googled this one because I'm like, I probably shouldn't explain an injury as when you're hurt. But it's basically that. Like, if you want to look up the dictionary definition, it's basically along the lines of when there is some sort of damage to some sort of living tissue. So we'll just call it damage. But I think in a training context, the way to differentiate, say, a niggle from a injury would be a niggle is, yes, something does hurt, like something doesn't feel right. There is some sort of discomfort, but it goes away without you really doing anything. Whereas an injury, I would like to classify, at least for the way we explain all of this, is something that's persistent and that just like won't go away unless you do something about it or unless you make some sort of change.
Does it feel any different? Can I give an example? So like maybe people can envision it. So you're bench pressing and you feel a mild ache in your right elbow, not painful enough to stop, but you can tell it's there. And you can feel it more in the last few reps. Yep. What would you call it?
Well, I guess the thing is, like, a niggle could become an injury.
Yeah.
So you're experiencing discomfort.
Okay. So it ticks both niggle or injury. Like it could be either or. Okay.
And obviously there's varying severities of each. Like if you're bench pressing and your humerus snaps, that's probably a pretty bad injury.
Okay, so I guess I was like referring to the initial stages, right? Yeah, okay, yeah.
I would say at that point it's too early to tell.
Sure, okay.
But you bring up a good point, but here's what I'd do in that situation. So I don't know if this is an official thing, but this is just the way I learned so much about an injury or niggle straight away, or at least in the first week. With niggles, firstly, just to preface all this, like I said, they're usually things that come up that, are uncomfortable, or maybe there is a bit of soreness that might limit what you can do for a short period of time, but like it gets better on its own, it goes away. It's pretty quick. What I'd tell someone to do, let's say it's that scenario, the right elbow, was it, or pec tendon? Elbow.
Yeah, right elbow.
Right elbow. I'd be like, hey, cool. What we're going to do, we are going to take note of how this feels right now. Okay, yes, it flared up during bench press. Subjective as hell, but let's give it a pain score out of 10. Okay, it was a 5 out of 10 pain. And then let's make some predictions of like how it might affect the exercises during the rest of your week. Okay, pressing might be a bit limited, so let's come into bench press knowing that on the Thursday that maybe we have to pull back there or whatever if you can get through it. And then let's take these same notes like over the course of the week and each train session, and then again this time next week. If you don't see any improvement over 7 days, that is when I would start to, take it a bit more seriously and start to be a lot more proactive at that point in time. Because the thing is, things pop up all the time for sometimes no explainable reason. And things go away. So if you're too cautious all the time, I think you can get rattled for no reason and make too many changes for no reason. Whereas you might be able to just make some slight modifications during the week, make sure you're not making things any worse. Let's say that the next time that person comes to bench, probably say, hey, look, let's make sure, pain's no more than a 3 out of 10. If it stays there and it's not getting worse as you're doing your bench, cool. Let's work with that. If it's getting worse as like the load gets heavier or the reps go on, then maybe it's too heavy or maybe we need to miss it for the week.
Okay. Yeah. So a niggle will typically go away over time by not doing anything, right?
Yeah.
And then would you call this a niggle or an injury if, that right elbow is hurting that one time and then you were saying like after 7 days you come in again, it's not hurting too much, but then it starts flaring up again at the end of the session. Is that going to be a concern?
So look, what we'll probably find with the definition of these two, there will be like crossover.
Yeah, right.
And it is sort of grey area in between. And it's almost something you can rate retrospectively or classify retrospectively. If it was flaring up again, you would then, I guess, like the beauty, if you do everything I just said, was you've got notes from the whole week. You've seen what the aggravators were, hopefully. So, you might go through the rest of your program and then you realize, oh, my bicep curls also hurt. Rows, no problem. Everything else, no problem. So you can look at all the aggravating factors.
Yeah.
And specifically, like, sort of within your training program.
Yeah.
In that second week, I'd then try, like, pull back harder in those specific aggravators and really give that area time to recover and heal. Reassess after 7 days. Hopefully, again, it's only gotten better from there. If it hasn't, that is probably the point I'm then, what's the word? Sourcing, referencing, what's the word? Referring out.
Oh, referring, yeah.
Where I'd like the person to get an opinion
other help,
from
the external help.
External help,
sure.
Whether that's an osteo or physio. Because if I haven't been able to figure out in that time, I would much rather we not waste more time.
Yeah.
Trying to figure it out on our own. We definitely can, and look, more often than not, if you really strip things back and introduce things slowly, like, you can get through most things. Not everything, but so many things that pop up in training.
Yeah.
But I would really encourage someone to go see someone.
Yeah. So you're saying you shouldn't just drop everything. Like, you feel some pain. And I think most people just get a little bit scared that it's going to get worse. So then they just kind of stop what they're doing.
For sure.
But you would say, just kind of monitor it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely. I think the most useful thing you can do is just, like, collect information.
Okay.
Because that just informs then what changes you can make.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just stop doing things completely or skip exercises or something like that, you don't really know. You can't draw as much information as you'd like.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And when you were talking about listing, those healthcare practitioners, do you know who you should see? Like, there are so many. I feel like a lot of people don't know who to go to. Yeah,
really good question. If you have a coach, I would go straight to your coach's recommendation. And the reason I'd say that for myself is because, I develop relationships with other physios, and the physios that I'd like to work with do have a really good understanding of training. And I think that's really, really important for a training population, whereas a lot of physios, not all of them, but don't have as extensive understanding of training. And, I think better physios understand how to use a training program or training that the person's already doing as part of the rehab process. And I think that's really important. So the first, if you have a coach, I'd go straight to your coach's recommendation. Obviously, you yourself want to be able to have, like, trust and buy-in with whoever you're working with, but I would start there. But let's say you don't have a coach and you're looking for someone. I'd look at those things too. I think physios that are either also a coach or have coached in the past or do train a lot themselves. Maybe they do powerlifting, or maybe they're also work in essence strength and conditioning. Just anyone with with training experience as well, I think is really, really important.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. How would you make the most out of whoever you're seeing?
Basically doing everything I said before with keep really detailed notes and, write down all the things that hurt it, when it hurt it, how did pain change? Do you notice it during anything day to day? Because all that information can really accelerate the process of the professional being able to get a good understanding of what's happening, what's wrong. And, different exercises you might list that hurt in different ways. The physio then thinks, okay, they're not thinking, oh, it's a bicep curl that hurts, this person's elbow. It's like, oh no, the elbow hurts when, during elbow flexion, when the hand is supinated. And because different angles,
of course,
it gives hints for different things it could be.
Yeah.
So I'd just be really over the top with notes, because the more information, the better, really.
Yeah, that's actually really useful advice because I feel like a lot of people kind of just go in and they're not that prepared.
Yep.
But then having all of that information where, you know, it's hurting when I do this XYZ movement, can help them identify where in the body it's actually hurting.
100%.
Yeah.
And if it's serious, you can save
good.
like months of your rehab process. Like versus, you know, someone, not maybe not months, but that first appointment can be so much closer to, you know, what's actually happening versus, you know, not having much information there. The physio thinks it might be one thing. You go away, you try all these different changes and not much happens. And then it's only by the second appointment, you know, 2 weeks later or whatever it is, that you sort of, they get a way better understanding of what's happening. So you save time in that process as well.
And I guess the other thing that you mentioned before that I feel like links in terms of making the most out of your healthcare practitioner is, you know, how you were saying, go to your coach to see who they might recommend. That could also be useful because they probably already have this relationship with the physio or whatever, so they can communicate with each other and work out the best plan for you too, right?
For sure. And yeah, those relationships only get better over time as well. Because yeah, your program is what you can use to fix whatever problem. Like at the end of the day, whatever has happened, if it has in fact come from training, has come from something you're doing. Whether that's, might not be a specific exercise, it might just be like, you know, the total strain that's going through your knees over the course of, you know, your training program, whatever. So something needs to change usually within a training program to cater for whatever's popped up and to get it back to a good spot. So a healthcare professional, whether it's osteophysio, whatever it may be, who understands that and can make some suggestions or just give general thoughts to help shape the program to potentially fix this is the most important thing.
So not just, you know, they give you all the rehab exercises, you do that, and then your training separate. You're saying kind of incorporate them together.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And that makes the most out of your time too, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then if you're getting, and then the thing is, no one does rehab exercise. No one sticks them. I wonder if there are stats out there. And I'm saying even me. In the past when I've seen a physio, I don't stick to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, changes you can make within the program are going to be best.
Wait, so what do you do when you try to get better or through a niggle or injury? So after you see the physio, do you incorporate into your training or does it just get better?
Nah, it gets better.
Oh, wow.
Well, here's the thing. Like most things...
We were talking about the importance of seeing someone and you're like, I just don't take their advice.
No. Sorry, that's not what I meant. I do.
Okay.
In a programming sense, I do. I'm backpedaling now. No. But look, honestly, the reality is that a lot of niggles or injuries get better on their own over time. This is not to diss the physio industry or whatever, but half the time, the reason someone gets better when they're seeing a physio is that time has passed. That's just a fact. So knowing that and knowing that, again, your training or your program has probably led somehow to this outcome, that's why the focus needs to be there and what proactive changes you could make ongoing to hopefully not let those things pop up again.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And also, because now I'm hearing that. No, it does make sense. I guess I just want to clarify for everyone listening. Even if you see someone external that your coach maybe doesn't know, you could give that person or that healthcare professional your coach's details so they can communicate. Do you get that often too?
Yeah, usually when I know someone's going to go see someone, I'll say like, give them my email address and I don't know, I might send them a message with it. If not, afterwards I'll just send that person an email directly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And it's hard to find, like it's hard being a physio as well because they have to take time to like actually address all this and come up with a good response for me. So like I do appreciate it when physios go to that effort to actually help out. But the thing is like that's what is simply needed for someone to get better or just to improve that outcome.
Sure.
Like it has to be, it all comes back to, it has to go through the program.
Yeah.
The program's the vehicle.
Yep, got it.
Yeah.
Are there any common injuries or niggles you've seen in your time? Maybe specific to powerlifting.
Yeah, I'd say the number one thing is shoulders to some degree. Because shoulders get beat up in 2 of the 3 lifts. The first one, the bench press, which I guess is the more obvious one. But I guess the less obvious is like low bar squats. So in a low bar squat, and if you're not sure what that is a squat where the barbell sits a little bit lower down on your back. You basically, your shoulders get strained a lot more than a normal high bar squat where your upper body doesn't have to really do much. So, repetitive low bar squatting, benching, and just, again, all this volume that's running through it leads to all sorts of shoulder injuries. Other than that, lower backs can get pretty beat up over time. Surprisingly, I don't think I think it's less common to get a proper back injury, like a proper tear or a disc herniation or something. But I reckon that's a really common niggle.
Sure.
Just people having like a sore, stiff lower back. Like I think that's very, very common. How do you address that? Load management, easy periods of time, ramping it back up.
How many injuries have you had? And which ones?
Proper injury.
Yeah,
I would say the main proper injury I've had was like chronic back pain.
Is that from deadlifting?
I reckon it was from my old mattress. I'm not even kidding. And then mattress versus, this was during COVID. Man, my back was so, like, it was pretty grim. I was like, when it was real bad, I'd just wake up crying because I'm like,
What?
yeah, it was very, very bad.
So you woke up one day and
It was just so sensitive. Like
Wow.
at one point in time, it was just so sensitive. I like couldn't do anything.
So it was a gradual thing, like, or did you wake up one day?
Nah,
and
it was
just
gradual over
pain?
time.
Okay, yeah.
And then I'd have certain events like deadlift. This was during COVID. I was training in my grandma's garage. And yeah, there were a couple times that I'd pull a deadlift and something would click. I'm like, oh, fuck. That doesn't feel good.
Oh no.
But then there was this one time that really set it off.
Yeah.
And like for a week, it was so bad.
I have heard back injuries are literally the worst.
Because it's, yeah.
ongoing pain, right?
Yeah, and because it's in the middle of your body, it like every movement hurts.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, when something's in your hand, it's
Sure.
like one hand, everything, like you can use the rest of the body to do everything. But like your back cops it no matter what you're doing.
Lying down even?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so
tough.
grim. Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking at Dally and he's like reminiscing on the times thinking, oh, what? I feel so bad for myself.
Mainly back.
Yeah.
Otherwise, maybe some like minor tears, but they always get better.
Okay.
Have
So,
you?
yeah, I'm thinking now that we've defined niggle and injury, because I was like, oh, they're probably just niggles. But because they were over, you know, they did last maybe a couple months.
Okay.
I would say it was a minor injury. So I think it was my glute and my rotator cuff. Like I thought it was my shoulder, but then it turns out like is rotator cuff like kind of behind?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, it was that. And yeah, so that was just more like, yeah, doing a couple rehab exercises over time. But yeah, I guess I was thinking if like someone is in powerlifting and they've got a comp coming up, a pretty high level one at that as well, how would you coach someone through it?
Good question. So in powerlifting, it's rare to get through like a comp prep without anything popping up or like some sort of discomfort or niggle popping up. Again, you know, towards the end of a preparation, that's when you are touching the heaviest loads and you're putting your body under the most amount of stress. And that is just quite obviously the time these things really show themselves. So it sounds a bit grim, but it's honestly part of the process. You do have to, I guess, assess the risk of, is this something that can be managed? Is this something that, I'll only stay in, discomfort in for a certain period of time and then I can address afterwards? Or is this something that could get worse if I keep on pushing it? I think that's something important to understand first. And then, I guess you just evaluate how important the comp is.
Right.
The thing I've said before, and I may have said it to you, is that if you're waiting for the perfect comp prep when everything goes right and nothing hurts, probably never do a comp.
Yeah.
So I think you do have to be willing to, understand it's not always going to be smooth sailing heading into a competition. That's why there's a joke about, like when people do their comp recap, so it's like the 100 excuses of why their performance wasn't as good as it could be.
Yeah.
But I think no matter what, the important thing to do if you're deciding to go through with that competition and manage some sort of niggle or injury heading into it is just adjusting your expectations along with that.
Yeah.
It can be hard to, you've been making great progress on your bench press. It's gone up so much since your last comp, but all of a sudden in the last few weeks, it's just not going because your elbow's cooked. Like you've described, that example you described at the start. Just because you've been making all this progress up until this point, you've got to understand that whatever you can do is going to be whatever you can do on that day.
And I think you bring up such a good point in that a lot of times if you haven't competed before and you actually don't realize how much you're putting your body through. So what I'm saying is like when it gets to those peak weeks and your body is in a lot of pain, that's normal. And I didn't know that either. But I feel like it's kind of shocking for people. People like, oh my God, like I can't do this anymore, or it just hurts doing everything. It's low-key meant to. It's kind of surprising, or it's more of a it's kind of a crazy thing if you're just not in any pain at all, right?
Yeah, I'm so numb to it at this point.
Yeah.
And it sort of makes it sound unhealthy.
But it's true. It's more just like, you toughen up or no. I guess it's like assess it properly.
I like it. Yeah. And in saying all this, I understand it might sound maybe a little bit cold in a lot of aspects, but health and safety does come first. If it's something that could get worse, that's not something worth pushing. Someone at the world stage perhaps might disagree with that, and that's fine. It's the idea isn't to put you at risk.
True.
It's more so to make sure that you're doing everything you can to still get there and still be able to compete.
Yeah.
But yes, so often preps just simply are affected by not feeling your best and these things popping up. It's just so rare for, I think, someone to feel tip-top perfect coming in, or their last 10 weeks of training hasn't been affected at all by something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and talk to your coach, right? I feel like that's always the answer.
Yeah.
You can't decide these things alone, I feel like. It's really hard anyway. It makes it a lot harder.
You're right.
Because, I feel like you tend to overthink things, or you might overlook issues as well. I feel like communicating with someone else, they'll be able to identify a bit better whether you're kind of undermining issues or kind of just, kind of brushing them off as well.
Yeah, and because, we're talking about someone preparing for their comp here, because people do... maybe one, maybe two, maybe even 3 comps per year. It's not that something they do that often. It's something that everyone really, really looks forward to if you've decided to do it. And naturally, when it's something you don't do often and something you really look forward to, people naturally put a lot of weight on it and be, by default, quite emotional with anything related to that day. So decision-making can definitely be impaired when anything related to that comp comes up.
So true.
There might be instances when someone's like, no, I want to push through. Let's get there. And you're looking at it and you're like, it's just not worth it. What's the point? And
true.
So that's why, again, it's good to talk to someone that's probably a bit more level-headed than you are. And even I put myself in the same boat. If I'm preparing for a comp, I'm happy to like to do whatever it takes to get to the platform and put my body through it. And it'd probably benefit me as much as anyone else to run those scenarios by someone else. Because emotion definitely does take over.
Yeah. What do you think are other things you can do to make sure you're still making progress to your goals if you are injured and you feel like, okay, I do need to take a step back?
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess like, if you're not preparing for a comp or anything, it's just your general training or someone that just trains for fun. The first thing I'd say is there's still so much you can do in training. And, unless unfortunately, like hopefully you haven't injured, your upper body, lower body and everything in between. But, if you have a serious injury and it's your leg or it's your upper body, or the first thing you can default to is, okay, well, how can I train the, opposite to upper or lower as much as I can? How can I get the most out of that? I would use it as it's almost like a rare opportunity to focus on something else. And what I would make sure to do is like just quite simply establish goals, establish a new focus, so you feel like you do have purpose training, even when you are limited by some injury that stops you from doing X, Y, Z. Because I think it's so easy to default to, X limb is injured, training sucks, it's not that good, I'm just getting through it. Whereas really, it could be a rare, useful opportunity to focus on something else that'll pay off down the track. Like if someone has a lower body injury, they'll be able to put more time and resources and motivation into training upper body that they wouldn't when they also have to train their lower body or, however much that's limited by. And a really good example of this, I'm pretty sure Renee listens to the podcast, but Renee started training with me and she is 3 weeks post ACL surgery.
Wow, she tore her ACL.
Tore her ACL during cheer. And this isn't even my doing. This is completely Renee. But she came... No, obviously not the ACL. But what I was going to say was what was completely on her, which is so impressive, is that she came to me with a plan being like, hey, I have to do this surgery. But, over the next 12 months, like these are the focus I want to have. I want to get my bench up. I'd love to do like a bench only comp at some point too. And just had all these other goals and focuses she could divert her attention to, even though she was obviously going to be limited in her lower body. And like, eventually she does want to get into powerlifting again and do squats and deadlifts, but that's just, you just simply can't right now. There's a rehab process you want to go under. So I think that's honestly the best perfect example of what to do when you're injured.
Yeah.
You've got to divert your attention elsewhere and find purpose in your training. Otherwise, you will start not liking training, I don't think.
That's an incredible mindset by Renee.
Yeah.
I must admit. Because I just want to validate everyone, though, who goes through injuries and niggles, because I do feel for them in a sense of training takes up so much of your time, or like you pour so much energy and love and time into your training.
Yeah.
And once you get injured and you feel like you can't do that anymore, there's part of you, I feel like, where you've almost lost a part of your identity, right? Because you also form this community and routine around training. And, if things take a turn and, you're sidelined with injuries, then you can't do everything that you could do, or like your goals are out the window in a sense. So yeah, I feel like it is really hard, but I think from the start, what we've said, injuries are inevitable, right? Or not inevitable. The niggles are.
Yeah.
You don't want to get injured, but like it's part of the game as well. It's part of the journey. It's part of the game. And it is such a good opportunity in a sense. You can see it as, because you can work on that mental toughness part of things. And that's, I would say, more of the battle than the physical strength part of things.
100%.
Yeah, like I feel like getting through an injury really just makes you so much stronger, because you're going through it, even though you don't want to, things are so much harder, but you push through and you realize you can do it. Once you do overcome it, you do become so much stronger overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think it's even more of a, you know, in training, delayed gratification is this really important idea where, you know, you have to put in the work to see a result later on. But even more so when you're injured and going through a rehab process, that's an even better opportunity to practice that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And you're right. Like, and honestly, I do think injuries help a lot of lifters indirectly. And it when someone has had a serious injury, I think they do improve their approach to training.
Yes.
And understand, I guess, like, not take it for granted anymore. And, you know, take it a bit more seriously in, like,
True.
controlling your intensity.
Or even the opposite, where it's like training isn't everything as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because sadly, you're so right, you know, with people who love training and who it does, like, form a big part of their identity when this stuff happens. It can be a really tough time mentally.
Yeah.
Which is common.
It resets priorities right as well, because it's like you realize it's not all about strength and PVs and everything. It's like main thing is your health. So yeah, take it as an opportunity as well to focus on other lifestyle things, your sleep, your nutrition, because at the end of the day, those are the things that will help you like heal as well and recover better. What's your prediction? What would be more important lifestyle wise? You reckon lifestyle probably, I mean, the easiest thing is probably nutrition. Would you say?
I'd agree.
I mean, nutrition and sleep, in our tracking episode, we were talking about how those were probably the most important things that would enhance your performance. So I would say probably same thing here. But yeah, it's just an opportunity to do whatever, you know, explore other things in life that you like doing as well. Like just take a holistic approach to health if you are feeling like you are set back, because there are so many other things that you can do to help you progress in the long term.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. So in summary, if you have a niggle or an injury or potential injury, something sore, I'd keep notes. I would be really specific with the notes. I'd think about things or write down things like what exercises or movements or even like stuff outside of the gym are hurting it or creating that discomfort. I would give it some sort of pain score as well in association to those different activities. And I'd keep that logged for a week. Are things getting better? Are they not? If they're getting better, cool. Probably on the right track for it getting better just on its own over time. But in that, help it along, like look at those aggravating factors you listed and perhaps just adjust them for a short period of time. Before all that, if you have a coach, communicate that all to them too.
Yes.
And then if things don't seem to be getting better or your coach can't really help you any more than they think, refer out, see someone else. We said if you're looking for someone to help you, make sure that they have an understanding of training themselves or they train themselves, because the program is the thing we want to focus on in making you feel better.
Yeah. Great.
Cool. Good summary?
Good summary, yeah.
Cool. And if you get injured, proper injured, what should
not
people
the
do?
end of the world. There's hope, there's light at the end of the tunnel. You'll get through it.
You will. What should people focus on if they do get injured? Other
lifestyle things? Is that what you're getting
Sorry, I did not set you up well there. Set other goals.
Set other goals.
Focuses.
That's right. Yeah.
Give yourself, make sure you still have some purpose.
Oh, yes. 100%.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it.
Wicked Wango card.
Wicked Wango cards.
All right. You can choose the top one. Read it out.
Do you know I'm good at card tricks?
Are you?
Yeah, like really good. Can I tell you about one?
Yeah.
I feel like I can't explain it because then you'd know the trick to the magic. I'll explain it like you will live in it, and I just won't tell you how I did it.
Yeah.
Imagine I did a card trick. We're sitting around the kitchen, right? I did a card trick. And I'm like, pick a card, any card, shuffle it all around. And, you know, I get you to pick through different decks, different options. You're like, this, that. I'm like, cool. And then I get you to pick the closest. Sorry, not the closest. I get you to pick a piece of fruit from the fruit bowl.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is in the kitchen. I go through, backpedal before I get you to pick the piece of fruit. I go to our final card. I say, is this your card? And you're like, no. I'm like, oh, okay, that's funny. Throw that out. I'm down to no cards. I say, go choose your favorite piece of fruit. You pick a random piece of fruit. There's like 10 pieces of fruit. You pick one.
Yeah.
You bring it over. I get a knife out. I cut open the fruit, and in there is your card.
You're joking.
Nah, it was the greatest thing of all time.
No.
Yeah.
No, wait. Let me envision. So say I pick up a banana.
Yep.
You're cutting it in half.
Yeah, and open up, and rolled up inside the banana is your card that you pick.
Like it's a rolled up card. My card.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's insane. You know why that's so cool as well? Because you threw me off twice in a sense of you made me pick up a card.
It's brilliant.
And then
You
I'm
picked
thinking,
the fruit
oh, you're
as well.
so dumb.
You picked the fruit.
And then now you're making me pick up a fruit, which I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I
All
like
right,
that
yeah,
you were
next
shocked
time.
by and impressed by it, and I didn't even have to do the trick.
Well, I was expecting something because I love magic tricks. So like I watch them and like, yeah, I whenever someone is like, oh my God, I have a party trick, it's a card trick or whatever,
Yeah.
so into it. So I'm thinking I probably know the trick.
Yeah.
And then, but
I'll
fruit.
tell you off air.
Yeah, show me. Are you going to show me or?
Oh, it takes a bit of prep.
Oh, that's so silly. Okay, yeah.
All right, the question.
Question.
Non-magic card. What makes you irrationally angry?
Oh. Irrationally angry.
I've got one if you want me to go.
Yeah, you go first. I just don't want to say like, because it's similar to last week's, you know, like where you're talking about like people who make you angry, but I want to think of something else.
Oh, wait, we didn't read this last week, did we?
No, but it was like, I think it was similar in a sense
what
of
people-
what people
yeah.
makes you angry, I think.
All right, irrationally, keyword irrationally, meaning
Yeah.
it shouldn't, but it just does.
Yeah.
I hate being late to things.
Oh.
And I hate when people make me late to things.
Oh my gosh. People who know me know that I can talk about this for hours
really?
on end. Yeah, I think more so when I was younger. Oh,
Really?
yeah. Can you give me a situation where, someone's made you irrationally
when
angry?
we are going to a dinner that's set at 6:30 p.m. and, you know, a certain someone is not ready and we're going to get there at 6:35. That's not acceptable. The time was 6:30, which means I will arrive between 6:22 and 6:30
yeah.
parked,
Yeah.
ready to enter at
Yeah.
6:30.
And what's worse is I think more so now I've tried to be a little bit more kind and understanding. But it's really hard when it's making, let me think. It's like a party or group thing, right? And you're maybe picking someone up or someone's picking you up, but then that person's late. And then it makes me feel bad because like almost I'm not the one being late, you know what I mean? But it's putting out like you're putting out more people than just yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah.
That's annoying. I thought of one so I really care about my food. And there was just this one situation that my mum kind of recalls to me quite often because she was like, I have no idea why you were that upset. But I could have been on my period, who knows. But it does make me annoyed when I go through, I'm picking up some food, maybe going through drive-through or something, and they forget something. Like, especially, okay, there was this one time recently, or not that recently, but I really like my sauces. Like I have to have my sauces on things.
Yeah.
And it was a Porto's and they forgot my garlic dip. And I just was hysterical. I was upset. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they've done this. And then I was considering going back and I was just so upset because you have these expectations for how your food's going to be and you're eating it and you know that it could have been so much better if I just had this garlic dip. And yeah, it just makes me so upset and angry.
Oh, fair.
Is that
You
fair?
know what sucks at a drive-through?
What?
When they give you a drink that hasn't been in the fridge.
Oh,
Sorry,
something
like,
flat?
you know
like flat, bubbly drinks.
Sorry, context. Like
Yeah.
when you go to Colonel KFC, if
Yeah.
you've ever been, if you get a large Pepsi Max, it's in a bottle. It's not like Macca's where it's in a cup. You know.
Yeah,
you get what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
So it's a
I get
Pepsi
you.
Max bottle.
Yeah.
And this one time, I was driving to work. This is like 5 years ago, and I'm like, I really want a Pepsi on the way to work. So I go KFC drive-through. It's the only reason I've been to KFC to like save time. I didn't want to get anywhere. And it was a warm bottle of Pepsi Max. Do you know how like frustrating that is?
Oh no.
Especially when it's like the sole purpose of my afternoon.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, no, that's bad.
first world problem.
True.
Driving through KFC to get a drink. Anyway, I'll
Yeah.
take it. I reckon that's good.
Yeah. All right. That's it for today's episode. Next week, what are we talking about? I actually don't know.
We are talking about, this will be a powerlifting episode. We're going to talk about handling at competitions.
Oh, so this will be good because you would have handled some people.
That's why we did it next week. I was wondering
Yeah.
why we put it there. That's right. Maybe I'll use the weekend for...
Yeah. Oh, actually, I remember this. We talked about some topics like at the very start. That's why it's coming back to us now. But you said that you're going to teach me how to handle people.
Oh.
Yeah. So that will be exciting.
I do remember this.
Yeah.
Free
I'm going to
tomorrow-
learn how to do that.
Tomorrow night to handle.
Oh, yeah. Who am I handling? Critique or Kane?
Critique and Kane.
Yeah.
And they're at boilers. Is that tomorrow?
Yeah, it is tomorrow. Yeah. But good luck to them and Pendles.
And Pendles.
Yay.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Should be good. You know what? It was good over the last 2 days when you listened to this on Monday.
Yeah.
That's
Bye,
us done.
guys.
See out.